Yo, what's happening, people, and welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way.
Yes.
And I have to get this disclaimer out at the start of the episode. If you see any sort of Disney princesses or any sort of stuffed toys, Rudolph here. That is because I do have some family staying with me. My little cousin's staying here. So her stuff. I tried my best to clear up the stuff, but you might see something in shot. It's not mine. It's not Michael's. It is my little cousin's. But she's also donated this shirt here, the Messi one.
Got respect.
And then that's my uncle's shirt. He's a Liverpool fan. But Michael, obviously, we spoke Newcastle last week. We spoke Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I got to thank you because you gave me a nice bit of clickbait.
Is it?
Adding the title.
Did they jump on it?
Eddie Howe should be sacked? Question mark.
What did they say, by the way?
I put it on TikTok. And the Newcastle fans aren't happy.
Oh my gosh!
They're saying, "No, that's nonsense. He's talking waffle. Just because Eddie Howe might not get Champions League doesn't mean he should go. Got us Champions League last year. The Geordies are riding with Eddie Howe."
Yo, Newcastle fans, I want to look you straight in the face and say there has never been more of a stepping stone manager than Eddie Howe. Like, if you want to be comfortable and you love him for X, Y, and Z reasons, I know he's done a lot for you in the last 18 months. But there are better managers out there than Eddie Howe. And if you want to start consistently fighting for top 5, you're going to need a better manager than Eddie Howe, with all due respect. But we'll see. If you're comfortable and you're happy being 9th, 10th, fighting with Chelsea for 11th place, Eddie Howe's your guy. Eddie Howe's your man.
Look, we're not going to get back into this. If you tuned into last week's episode, you know my thoughts on Eddie Howe. I think he should stay. I think a lot of people described Mikel Arteta as a stepping stone manager.
Okay.
Also, just to let you guys know, we're recording this before the Chelsea-Newcastle game.
Yeah.
So obviously we don't know what's happened in that game. Obviously we won't be able to talk about it. And that's because tomorrow I'll be at the Emirates for what is meant to be a really, really good night. Should be a good atmosphere there. So yeah, we had to record the podcast today. Also, I'll shout out my little cousin Aria for the cocktails.
Yeah,
some old fashions on set, specifically requested. So yeah,
it's meant to be kissing Rudolph. I'll save this to the end.
Don't worry about that. So, I mean, we spoke a bit of FPL last week.
We did.
Spoke about title race, 3-horse race. I'm seeing Louis triple captain Solanke. I'm seeing Wivey taking -12s. I think my Kevin Keegan thing got to him. Because
the pressure's ramping up.
Alex said that, Kevin Keegan bottled it from there. And -12s. Where's that come from?
That's crazy.
He just shortened. He did all the work for me.
That's a crazy. And I took a hit as well, FPL wise. I brought out Haaland. I thought I was onto something because I looked at Haaland's next 2 games and I said, all right, Liverpool and Arsenal. I think Haaland will probably get at best 2 goals in the next 2 games.
Yeah.
And I saw Solanke on a double game week with Sheffield and Luton at home, and I thought he should be leaving with 3 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
So I took out Haaland, brought Solanke in. I took a hit to bring Bowen in as well, who blanked. And it's like I won by what cost? Because Haaland did blank, but so did Solanke.
Yeah.
And now Solanke, it all falls down to whatever he does versus Luton on Wednesday. And that my week, it rides on that.
Depends on that.
Yeah, it rides on that.
People making me laugh, man. Taking -4s to bring in Zabani.
yeah.
Like this Bournemouth defense is like, I know it's Shef U and Luton, but
and do you know what's funny is with the match week next week, you should be able to actually put some distance between you and Wivey because he doesn't have a free hit.
Wivey's got 4 players playing next week.
yeah. So this is where.
Hey, look.
You got to seize this opportunity with 2 hands.
Well, he's doing his best Kevin Keegan impression, man.
You got for snapping it.
Yeah, you got to snap out of that. Otherwise, it's just downhill from here. But yeah, I have gone top currently. Game week's not over.
Yeah, game week. 10 games to go the running in more than just the Barclays Premier League.
And hey, look, I'm going to come away with something. Whether it's my team on the pitch or whether it's my FPL team, I'm coming away with something.
That's too funny.
But yeah, obviously, it would be great to start off talking about Arsenal. But yeah, I know I would love to talk about Arsenal first. You know, I was there, enjoyed it a lot. But there was a blockbuster title decider. We questioned last week whether it would live up to the hype. but it's not a Liverpool Man United fixture,
Mm.
so it most likely will live up to the hype.
And that's the interesting thing. It was a Liverpool Man United scoreline though, but it still wasn't a Liverpool Man United fixture.
Because I thought it'd be. I predicted a 2-2 before the game.
Yeah.
I did predict a draw. I said this last week. There's been a lot of draws in that fixture, but like it was a blockbuster game. It's what a title decider should look like.
Yeah.
And personally, I think Liverpool should have won the game. I think they definitely had the better chances, especially second half.
Yeah.
And I have to give major props to Jurgen Klopp, because when I did see that starting lineup, I thought, yo, this could be. It was one of those where we've had it before, where we've gone to Old Trafford or we've gone to Stamford Bridge or wherever it's been, and we're like, we see their team.
Yeah.
This is the best chance we have to win here.
Yeah.
And Man City, we know their record at Anfield. We know what it's like. When you see that team, it's another one of those where it's like, yo, if Man City are ever going to win at Anfield, this is the team.
It's with Kwanzaa in the starting lineup.
Kwanzaa, Bradley, Gomez left back.
Yeah.
No Salah starting. You had Harvey Elliott on the right.
Yeah.
But credit Jurgen Klopp for not only this game, I mean, what he's been doing with the injuries that he's had. And to not only be able to compete with those players that he had on the pitch, but also look like the better team, especially second half. And boy, it's that people sometimes think that I give Anfield too much praise, I give it too much weight. But when do you see KDB and Rodri knocking long balls, goofing it, trying to get it away? It's just one of those things. And look, ultimately, we wanted the draw, so we were happy post that result.
It's true.
Yeah, man, I think Liverpool deserved their props in that game.
I think Liverpool do deserve their props in that game, but I think a draw was a fair result. I think, like, the first half, City were bossing them. I think that it's interesting because I think it's a tale of two halves. I think City had the better of it in the first half, Liverpool had the better of it in the second half, but I do think that Liverpool's on top was more dominant than City's on top.
Yeah, I think they had the better chances.
They had the better, like, when they were on top, they were creating clear-cut chances for people like Diaz.
Yeah.
They always had the threat on the counter-attack. But I did think that City had the quality to win it. And I thought Pep was right, not to bring off KDB, but he was right to change something, to ask for more ball control in midfield, to get runners in there like Kovacic, who are going to sort of run both ways. For
what did you make of that KDB substitution? Because obviously KDB was not happy about it.
Yeah. I hear it. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
he wasn't having a great game.
He still left an assist, but I think Pep knew what the remaining half an hour of that match looked like. It was going to be some sort of basketball game.
Pep just went, I need control.
Yeah, like it was going to be some sort of basketball game where Liverpool were attacking. Then City were going to feel like, all right, we're Man City. We need to attack. We need to have the ball.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck in situations where you're asking your defense to do a lot of work in transition.
Yeah.
And I think Pep was like, I'm not having KDB out there to go machine for machine with Núñez and Szoboszlai and, Diaz and all these other guys. I would rather Kovacic get in there. Yeah. You've got the legs. Yep. You've got the sort of... you're not coming off a 12-month injury, kind of thing. Where just get in there, run around, get onto the ball, play 1-2s with Rodri. You literally have two pivots.
He moved Bernardo out to the right.
Yeah. So I think from a system perspective, I get it, but I hear it from an ego point of view. It's you never see KDB get taken off.
Yeah,
I don't think,
and also KDB, the guy for the big moment.
Yeah.
The match winner on the pitch, the X factor on the pitch potentially. You take him off.
I do think that it comes down to Anfield. I do think in many other, and I actually agree. Like,
KDB's playing 90 minutes against Arsenal.
I think that a lot of the times the Anfield thing is a lot of hype, but I do think
Pep treats Anfield with too much respect.
But I do think on this occasion or in this sort of series that Pep, but I don't think it's just Anfield, because I think some of these huge games, because we've seen it in the Champions League with other teams, Lyon, a couple of the Real Madrid ties before, Monaco, like Pep can just overthink it, or I don't know. But I just think specifically though for this tie, for the Klopp thing, that Pep wasn't making typical Pep-like decisions. And I do think that when he took off KDB, instead of deciding to risk it, said, I'd rather not lose this game and lose to Klopp in his final go than than even try and win it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that Pep wouldn't always decide against on any other
He
man.
still
Like,
did do his peps because Ruben Diaz benched.
yeah, exactly.
Biggest game of the season.
Yeah, he's been playing however many.
Diaz bench.
Yeah. So I think Pep does give a lot of credit and a lot of respect to Jurgen Klopp, and he doesn't want to go into a all-out gun battle with Liverpool at Anfield because he thinks with the crowd, with everything, it doesn't matter who Liverpool field out, Klopp will get guys to run through walls for him.
Yeah.
And I think that deserves a lot of credit and that deserves a lot of respect. And even getting somebody as great as Pep to potentially doubt themselves or second guess their tactics or second guess if he's got the right system in place. You know how meticulous a guy like Pep is. I think that deserves a lot of credit. And you're right, man, like with the field that they put out, you know, the Bradleys and those guys. I want to give a shout out to guys like Endo, man. I thought Endo had a great game.
Yeah, Endo, we need to speak on Endo.
I thought Endo had a great game.
Because Endo's a serious footballer.
Yeah, he is.
Like and a lot of people clowned Liverpool. I think a lot of Man United fans in particular, because of this midfield rebuild.
Yeah.
Going for Caicedo, and then they picked up Endo for what was it, 10, 15 million. And look, I'm not saying Endo is Rodri or Declan Rice or any of these guys, but Endo is a very competent holding midfield player.
Yeah.
Like on the ball, he's clean, he's crisp, he keeps it tidy, he keeps it ticking. In that sort of game, that's where I'm looking at, and I know it's at Anfield, but I'm looking at that game thinking, maybe how's Endo going to cope with this?
Yeah,
how's
literally.
Endo going to cope with this atmosphere? How's Endo going to cope? Not because he can't or whatever, but it's a different ball game when you're coming up against Rodri, KDB, Bernardo Silva, Foden. And look, man, I haven't seen Rodri have a game like that in a while, where he was getting dragged out of position. He was finding himself in 1v1s with Luis Diaz. But yeah, shout out Endo because he's putting in some serious performances.
Yeah, no, and Endo's been he's been a good signing.
And alongside him, Alexis McAllister.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he was the best player on the pitch.
You think?
I think other than Van Dijk.
I think Stones was better than Van Dijk yesterday.
No. That's just.
I swear, I think Stones did more than Van Dijk.
Just because he bagged.
It's not even just because he bagged. Stones had a couple off the line clearances, his positioning.
Stones is playing next to Ake and Akanji.
What are we doing?
Jarell Kwanzaa, and shout out Jarell Kwanzaa as well. He came in and did his thing.
He did
in a massive game against the best striker in the league. But even Kwanzaa was saying in his interview afterwards that, yo, this man next to me, Virgil van Dijk, made it easy for me. He's telling me what to do. And look, Virgil's got to marshal that backline, but we'll get to that. Alexis McAllister, I think he was getting on the ball when things like, especially against Man City, you need players, and Arsenal are going to need this when they go to the Etihad. You need players who are going to be brave and come and get the ball. Yeah. And Alexis McAllister was doing that. He was passing forward and pressure penalty.
Yeah.
And ice cold from him to stick it in that corner.
Yeah, no, I think McAllister did play very well. I think he complements Endo well. And I think, again, it just gives more credit to Klopp because I still wouldn't think that Endo and McAllister are 2 out of 3 parts of a title-winning midfield or title-chasing midfield. So for them to do that versus, as you say, Rodri and KDB, Bernardo Silva at home, it's an incredible feat. I want to give VVD some credit. I do think the VVD thing is overhyped. Like I do think the 1-1 with Haaland is overhyped. I think VVD played very well yesterday, but I think every time VVD steps out now, everybody's so quick to say all-time performance. Just look at him. It just doesn't get better than that. And like, I think that's to VVD's credit.
How's VVD done this season?
He's done well. He's done very well this season. And I 100% agree that like if Liverpool were to win it, VVD should get the player of the season.
Unless Salah scores mad goals from now till the end of the season. I think he'll be VVD.
I think Salah could score mad goals from now to the end of the season.
Like if Salah scores goals that win Liverpool 9 points.
Yeah, it would take something as special as that, late minute equalizers and winners. Yeah. But I think VVD has been very consistent and very available all year. Yeah. And like
no Konate.
No, he had Matip at the beginning. He had Konate. He's had Kwanzaa now. He's had Gomez at stints. It doesn't actually matter who it is next to him. He'll make sure that you guys are solid enough.
Yep.
And Alisson is even out, so it's like everything around him has changed, and he's been the consistent player. but I do think that VVD has by far the best PR of any central defender the Premier League has ever seen. Because it doesn't matter what he does, guys are just like, oh, it's the best we've ever seen. That's it. Guys always tweet, that's it. The best, case closed. The best the Premier League has ever seen. And I think that there were a lot of good defenders out there yesterday. I thought Stones really did his thing yesterday. He was under a lot of pressure. He scored a goal. He had a couple of off-the-line clearances from Diaz and these guys, Nunes. I think, but anyway, I say that to say, I think if Liverpool can maintain this, and you were more so, we actually were in disagreement because you more so wanted Liverpool to win, and I more so wanted City to win.
Well, obviously, we wanted a draw.
I wanted a draw.
If one team had to win, I wanted Liverpool to win.
And it's funny because I give Klopp a lot of respect, but I do think he's a bit of a loser still. I think Klopp's greatest ever achievement would be being in conversations with Pep. You know, like in the Premier League, when it comes to Premier League history, harsh, it's a little bit harsh. It's a little bit harsh.
Like the guy's won Champions League.
No, he's won Champions League and he's won the Premier League. And that deserves a lot of respect and a lot of credit for.
Does what Jurgen Klopp's done at Liverpool, but he wins one league title and Pep grabs another 4. We're not going to be saying that. But
I think the thing is, like if Mikel was to even win the Premier League this year, I wouldn't put him in Pep conversations.
No, of course not.
But that's where Klopp is. Like, and Mikel wouldn't be putting. They wouldn't put Mikel in Klopp conversations, but they would have the same sort of accomplishments and achievements, apart from a Champions League, which is big.
Yeah. No, if Arteta wins the league, best believe I'll be putting him near those Klopp conversations.
Yeah, I would have him right there.
Pep is out and away. Yeah. I think obviously Liverpool fans will argue against that. And to be fair, like, probably if Mikel Arteta wins Arsenal Champions League, I'll probably say he's better than Pep, right? Because that's just a fan opinion,
yeah,
and a biased thing and whatever. Arsenal have never won it, all of this stuff. But I think for me, just looking at objectively, Pep is clearly the number one. But to say that Klopp's biggest accomplishment, in conversations with Pep, it's harsh.
It's when I say biggest accomplishment, I don't mean,
or maybe that's just massive praise to Pep.
Exactly. When I say accomplishment, I don't mean in terms of what he's actually won. But, you know, the media hype around the game, all the marketing, everything that's going on about the rivalry and X, Y, and Z. And as an individual rivalry, it's actually quite competitive between Klopp and Pep. And the fact that Klopp
their head-to-head record, and Klopp's like the only manager who's actually got the better of Pep.
Yeah, I think it's him and Conte.
Yeah.
And the fact that with the teams that Klopp has had to sort of mold himself to even have a competitive record versus Pep is an achievement. But that is it. That's the achievement, is the fact that he's been able to mold teams together to be somewhat competitive with Pep, who just cleans up and cleans house.
Yeah.
And in every other metric, like even when Pep said, but they've never won at the Etihad. Like, it's just not marketed the same.
Yeah.
No one's ever building up a Liverpool City tie at the Etihad with, is this now or, you know, it's like, it's now or never, or, you know, they haven't won it for 8, 9, 10 years. It just never gets mentioned.
Yeah.
And I think and this is why, and we're going to come on to Arsenal later, but just to add this in, this is why I'll be like, I'm so desperate for Arsenal to win this Premier League, because I want Arteta to win one in the Klopp Pep era.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, I said that to say, I said that about Klopp, but I wanted Liverpool not to win that game because I thought if Liverpool did beat City, that they would go all the way. Like, I think Klopp would get those guys, and that's the respect I give Klopp, is if he was able to get this over Pep, I would hate, and everybody says Liverpool's going to drop off, and everybody says, injuries are going to catch up with them. But we've been saying that for the last 3-4 weeks now, you know, and they've only just drawn to City to come off top spot by goal difference.
Yeah.
So I hate waiting around for Liverpool to drop points. Hate that. I would rather.
My point would be, though, if Man City had won at Anfield, do you think they would have gone on to win it?
I think they would. If Man City are default settings, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
But I would rather it be in our hands, where we have to go to Man City and do something to them.
Yeah.
Get a point, get 3 points, then that game be immaterial, and then us just still wait on Liverpool to lose games.
Yeah.
I would, and that's the pressure I would prefer Arsenal to be in and to be on, because I hate, as I said, the Nunes daggers and the McAllister sort of clinics, and, you know, Klopp Klopp, yeah, he knows how to find a hero. Like in his squad, like the fact that we even speak about Conor Bradley and all these guys, like he knows how to, out of nowhere, find a hero, yeah, and bring him to the forefront. And,
Bro, even Jarrell Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Coming in for the biggest game of the season.
Robertson's not been playing any minutes. Gomez in the 6 and...
Bro, like, I haven't really seen anything at all of Raw Waters at Arsenal, yeah? He's been on the bench a couple of times, but can you imagine if we were playing Man City
and Waters had to start?
Had to come in.
Yeah.
Of course, Gabriel would make sure the clean sheet is there, because that's what Gabriel does. But, bro, I'd be on edge, man.
But, yeah, I just think that, I don't know. I've been a bit wishy-washy because I've given Klopp a lot of praise, but I've also given him a lot of hate as well. But that's just how I feel about Klopp. I think he's a brilliant.
Did you see Tigo's tweet?
No, what did he say?
There's no one like Jurgen Klopp.
And in many ways, there isn't.
Yeah.
Because there isn't that many people that can push Pep that far and lose every time. Like that's
Jose.
That's no, but even Joe. What? That's a fair point. But Jose got his league. To be fair, Jose actually similar. He got his league title.
Yeah, and he got his Champions League.
Yeah.
When he went to the new camp.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but look, man, I think that conversation, we'll leave that to the Liverpool and Man City fans.
Fair.
We don't need to have those conversations. But yeah, it was just a good game of football.
It was.
To watch,
the quality
man.
was immense.
Yeah.
Go on.
You were saying that it's turning into a basketball game, and because even Mikel Arteta referenced it when we went to Anfield, and there was a period in that game. Mikel and Pep are two guys
who don't want that.
That is the last thing they
at
want
Anfield
when they go to Anfield.
Yeah.
It's for the game to become a transition game and it to become a basketball.
Liverpool's best chances were in transition.
Yeah. But somehow, and this is where the Liverpool fans, the Anfield crowd, I got to give them some praise, because somehow even Pep Guardiola can go there and it can turn into a transition game.
Yeah. And that does take a lot of good coaching and a lot of skill and a lot of mentality.
And I want to shout out Luis Diaz as well. I know he did everything but score really in that game. And I know he missed 2 chances, and those 2 chances are quite inexcusable, right? In a big game, in a title decider. If Liverpool win that game, they go 4 points clear of Man City. If Man City were to drop any points against Arsenal, the gap 6-7 points with like 9 games to go. It gets quite different. The last thing on the Liverpool game that I do want to penalty at the end.
I don't think it's a penalty. I think it's a pen. I think if you look at the still image, it looks like a penalty. It looks like he's kicked him in the chest. But I think what's his name? Doku has kicked the ball onto McAllister.
Yeah, the VAR said he touched the ball first.
Yeah, I think he's kicked the ball onto McAllister. So if McAllister had possession of the ball and that happens, calm. But they've headed out from a corner and Doku's been stupid enough to let it bounce. And then try and jump kick it.
That 5 minutes from Doku.
Interesting.
Because when Doku went forward and hit the post, when he hit that shot, I thought
he's going to change his.
He's just done it.
Yeah.
Pep's just found another guy who's just come in and scored the winner at Anfield, and then down the other end, he almost gives the penalty away. Look, I think it was a penalty, but last week we sat here about the decision Liverpool were getting, and I said I don't really want to talk too much about it. It swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, true.
Across the season, you get some and you don't get some. So I don't think Liverpool fans can really complain too much.
The last thing I'll say on Doku as well is I just know Haaland is so frustrated playing with him. I just know Haaland will never have to tell me this, but I know Haaland secretly, not hates, but
because of how unpredictable
the unpredictability of it. Haaland, whenever Doku has the ball and he's scurrying up a defender, Haaland has to make 7 runs because he doesn't know when Doku's going to put it in. Like at what point he's going to drop the shoulder, at what point he's going to cut back. With a KDB or a Grealish, you might get 1 drop of the shoulder and ball in the box. Yeah. And Haaland just has to make like a double run. Whereas with Doku, just watch it every time the ball doesn't come in. His frustration is palpable.
Yeah. Even when he took that shot and hit the post, Haaland and Foden wanted him to cut it back. But yeah, man, it was a great game to watch. Enjoyed watching it. And yeah, man, 1 point between 3 teams.
Yeah, this is it's going to be an incredible title race, and I think just to pay homage one last time to Klopp and Pep, because I think that has been the standout game for the last 6 or 7 years in the Boxing Premier League, and that game has always had the highest quality and some of the biggest narratives, and has always meant the most in the title races. So I do want to give them a lot of credit for showing ourselves and I guess a lot of other people in football the levels that the Barclays Premier League can be. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. That's for sure.
Yeah. And one team part of that title race to win late on, massive goal. And look, we sat here back when Kai Havertz scored the winner against Brentford away from home, and we said if Kai Havertz does this in March, we'll be feasting.
Marchverts, you haven't been seeing,
and he's only gone and done it. We're in March, and Kai Havertz has turned up with a late winner, a huge goal for Arsenal. But I was there, and when Declan Rice hit the crossbar, which was an unbelievable shot, by the way. But when Declan Rice hit the crossbar,
that one was almost too fake because it was like
it looked like it was just looping.
He was gearing up for so long to hit it. I was like, surely you've lost your rhythm.
And
as you say, it was looping for so long.
But when he hit the crossbar, I just kind of thought, man, it's not going to be the day. It's just going to be one of those games. And then even on the Havertz header, I kind of get up and then Flecken gets his hand to it. I'm like,
do you know what done me? When Gabriel had his chance from the corner, you know when Gabriel was literally head and shoulders above everybody else, and that goes in like, and how if that stays out, it might not be your day.
Exactly. But on Kai Havertz, man, what more can we say? I said he was the best signing of the summer. And he scored big goals for Arsenal.
No, he. I think to be fair, we've been seeing his praises for the past couple of weeks, so it's nothing new for us. I think Mikel has just got him into a position now in the team where he's really found his form. He's really found his feet. He has the confidence himself. He thinks that I should be the one making these runs. I should be the one connecting the play. It's funny because last week I was on here and I was like, after 15 minutes the game was done. I'm not sure if I'm enjoying this actually anymore. There's no jeopardy in the games even up until half time.
I did say it was going to end in this game, innit?
This was the exact opposite. Like I didn't actually have much fun watching the game, but I had a lot of fun when the final whistle went and like the relief and then just the thought of what to come for Sunday football. But just coming back to Kai Havertz, I think the really interesting thing about him is I don't know how much of this now is even sort of planned by Mikel Arteta or like it's just happened. Like I think Declan Rice was brought to be a 6. Even that I don't know. But I think he was brought to play
That's definitely the long-term plan.
Yeah, it's definitely the long-term plan. I think he was definitely brought to be some sort of deeper playing Arsenal midfielder. And now we're in a situation where Rice has 6 goals, 5 assists. Which is Xhaka numbers. Because everybody says the 7 and 7 from last year. Who's going to get the 7 and 7 that Xhaka? Rice could get the 7 and 7.
And now we're saying Rice ain't going to get that.
Exactly. And now we're in a situation where Havertz could get sort of 10 Premier League goals.
Havertz got the same GA as Maddison.
Yeah, like so I say that to say I don't know how Arteta's managed this and whether half of it is him planning this from the beginning of the season or half of him is just realizing where this team could go now. But I think it's really interesting to see Rice in the 8, Havertz in the false 9, Jorginho sitting, because I just don't think as many Arsenal fans would have expected us to line up that way, and I don't think many Arsenal fans would have expected Rice to do the job he's doing as an 8 and Havertz to do the job he's doing as a false 9.
Rice crashing the box on his first goal. It's a great header.
It's a centre forward header.
Yeah, it's a number 9's goal.
It's an incredible. And it's not the first time this season.
Yeah, and I've on Kai Havertz. I've said this about Kai Havertz before. When he scored that goal at Brentford, does anyone else in our team score that goal?
It's true.
I don't know if anyone does score the one that he scored on the weekend. Like what Kai Havertz is offering this Arsenal team is invaluable because it's just a different option. It's another way of playing. And I think you said it on the chat. Credit to Mikel for leaving him on.
Yeah,
because
I thought he was going to come off.
In a lot of games gone previously, Kai Havertz would have been the go-to substitution.
I thought the Jesus Havertz thing was just going to be sort of a straight swap.
Yeah, but boy, did I love seeing that together. And Jesus' cameo, that looked like the Jesus that I was seeing last, pinning the defender.
I was going to say, I have 2 things to say. and this is only for real Arsenal geeks, but my two favorite sort of move. Well, not my two favorite, but Gabriel Jesus's 5'10" and the defender's 6'3". But trust me, just give me the ball.
Yeah.
Like when he takes, as you say, pins the defender, takes it down on his chest,
and then
turns,
stands him up.
And then Gabriel Magalhaes, and he did this on Tony a few times. Like, I'm gonna come through the back of you, get a foot.
That one at the end when he just climbs over Tony.
I love the Gabriel Magalhaes. I'm gonna get a toe on the ball. Somebody's gonna try and pass it to you for you to pin me up. I'm gonna get a toe on the ball and completely clear you out as well at the exact same time. And the ref just has to yell, sort of play on. Those are some of my two favorite moves that we repeatedly see from our two Brazilians at the back and up top. And I agree with you. I thought Gabriel Jesus' cameo was amazing, and it's exactly what we're going to be
makes
needing.
A difference from the bench. That's all you can ask for.
I think moving forward, not that Gabriel Jesus is a bench player, but I do think that there is going to be. I would have a lot of time for Gabriel Jesus to give me those 20 minutes, half an hour on the bench. You know, even for the Man City game, I'm thinking like, I don't know if he should start, not because he doesn't have the quality or whatever it is.
But you need the Kai Havertz option.
You need the Kai Havertz option. Obviously, you need Rice. You know, you're not going to want to do it without Jorginho as well. And then the 20 minutes that Jesus can do on Akanji or Ake could be very long, you know.
And I think obviously there's rumours about Martinelli potentially not making the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, you know,
if Martinelli doesn't make that, it's Gabriel Jesus on that left wing.
Yeah.
All day, every Champions League.
Get minutes in his legs.
60,
yeah.
It's Gabriel Jesus
Portuguese
from
team
the start on that left wing. But you mentioned it briefly there, and I'll just touch on it quickly about Jorginho. Special man. Special footballer. And Jorginho's biggest hater here. Right? from his Chelsea days, and people know this, I've mentioned this on the pod before, but what I will say, is that when you have the kind of physical monsters
that we do,
that Arsenal have around, Jorginho's a cheat code, right? Because if you put Jorginho in there with a bunch of like,
I know what you're saying,
like
and McAllister,
kind of,
I'm joking,
right?
but
I think it could get.
It's a difficult game.
Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Havertz.
It's tough to have a 6 and ask him not to be good defensively in transition. But when you have Declan Rice and when you have Saliba,
then Jorginho becomes a cheat code. Because then it's just all you have to do is what he does and just completely dictate possession. That pass he plays to Kai Havertz when Kai Havertz should score,
and he's offside.
I actually think he was onside.
I was gonna say, but that as well. That pass is cash money because that's not the first time Jorginho. Every game for the last 6-7 games, Jorginho has this one first-time ball over the top to Havertz, and it's definitely something I don't know that's either come from Chelsea or they've worked in it in training or whatever. But that connection is there 100%, and I agree with you. I think Jorginho is a huge part of this 8-game winning streak that we're on, and I just think that it gets really tough because Thomas Partey is my guy. He's my guy. But I don't think he has enough match fitness or sharpness to start in the City game, even if he does play Porto. But it just means that I think the overall general point I have around Arsenal right now is I like the fact that our best players are coming back when we need them the most. Like this title race that's coming is an all-timer. Like when the last time 3 teams have even been this close was that season you showed me of Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool 10 years ago, you know, and now we're in a situation, as you said, all 3 teams are separated by 1 point with 10 games to go. Like it's going to be nip and tuck. It's going to be sort of like hold your head and then jubilation at times. And I just think the only difference or the biggest difference between us last year and us this year is last year we were losing players. Saliba was going down, Gabriel was going down, Tomiyasu was going down, and this season Tomiyasu's coming back, Zinchenko's coming back, Gabriel Jesus has just come back, Partey's just come back.
I think Mikel Arteta has managed that period and players' injuries
unbelievably well.
Because Mikel Arteta has even said, like, in interviews where they've asked him, what did you learn from last year?
And
he said, from March to May, you need your best players, you need your players fit, you need the team firing, and all of that stuff. And I think there are certain cases where Mikel Arteta has left players out for maybe longer than he would have previously, because he wants them back for that post-international break. So maybe Zinchenko, we just saw come off the bench on the weekend. Maybe he might have been fit a game before, 2 games before.
Yeah.
And Mikel Arteta is saying, no, look, the squad's Kyrill's doing all right at the minute. Same with Tomiyasu. Same with Jesus. Jesus, since he's come back, hasn't had a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
I think he's just gearing up. And I think that's good management of the squad on his behalf. And the other thing I want to give him praise for is that, look, all season people have been saying Declan Rice is like £100 million player looks like, right? People have been saying that all season, but especially, I mean, he scored on the weekend against Brentford. He put in another good performance. He's been there week in, week out, and people are saying it. I saw a Man United fan say Declan Rice has shown what £100 million player actually looks like.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
And I want to credit Mikel Arteta for that, because Mikel Arteta looked at it and he said, and I'm so glad that our manager knows what 100 million, because I'm so glad it's not an Eric Ten Hag go spend 90 or 90. Whether Pochettino sanctioned it or whatever, 115 on Caicedo.
Mudryk and these guys.
Exactly. I'm so glad our manager knows if we're going to spend £100 million on a player, it has to be, and it was Declan Rice. There were no alternatives to that. It had to be Declan Rice.
No, I agree with you. And, you know, you see guys tweeting about, like, I've been waiting all season to cook Declan Rice. You know, what the hell? You know, those... They fill me with such joy, and we've got those wrong, man. We've got Pepe. We've got big transfers wrong, and Pepe wasn't terrible. It just wasn't 72 million worth of a signing. And another guy we have to shout out before we move on, Benny Blanco.
Of course, we weren't gonna miss that.
I think Benjamin White. I always you lot probably heard me.
Thomas Partey might be your guy, but that's my guy.
Yeah, Benjamin White is definitely Amar's guy. But I was gonna say, I think I always mention this. When we signed Ben White, I was like, calm.
Yeah.
Play him for 36 out of 38 Premier League games.
You were very on board with the signing.
I was very on board with the signing. I was just like, we need a guy, because we, at the time, context, we had a very consistent team.
Yeah.
Like, our defense was shambolic. Yeah. Like, David Luiz would put in a monster performance one week and then be sent off the next week. And like, I was just saying with Ben White, come in and be a 7 out of 10 at a minimum for 38 games, pretty much. And that is exactly what Ben White has been for the last 2.5 seasons. Like, he has just come in and he's always at a very minimum a 7 out of 10. And yesterday he was a 9, 8 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. But I love that from him, and I love that for Arsenal Football Club, where we have a mixture of quality players, like even people like Zinchenko, who we're never going to get 38 games out of, but we have, like, some of his games will be extreme quality. But we also have Ben White, where he will play 38 games, and they will be of a very, very, very high standard. And
he won't drop below a 6.
Yeah.
And that 6 is maybe 1 or 2 games.
Literally. And I just think he epitomizes sort of what I think Arteta's looking for in a football player, with consistency, availability, mentality. And now we obviously, the quality that, like, the first assist is an underlap, the second assist is an overlap.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to say, obviously, all the attributes you mentioned there are all attributes that Ben White has, but they're all kind of like mentality attributes.
Yeah. He's actually a quality footballer as well.
Exactly. And I think you saying Mikel Arteta loves a guy. I think Mikel Arteta also loves Ben White because of his understanding of the game, and or maybe not even his understanding of the game, so to speak, but I know just from watching Ben White week in, week out, that when Mikel Arteta explains to Ben White, you need to do this, this, and this because of this, this, and this. Ben White's taking it on board, and he understands it. Right. So he understands what he needs to do, where he needs to be. And look, if someone tells me Ben White's a defensive right back, I might just have to slap him, because that seems like the only logical conclusion at this point. And even before the game, you can see when Arsenal do their like team huddle on the pitch before the game, you can see on the Sky camera that Ben White goes, "They don't want to be here today, lads." And even that kind of stuff, right? That just comes from the proper English. Let's get up for this, boys. And look, I often speak about. I know I had Ben White as my second best signing under Mikel Arteta. I often speak about what he can offer going forward. And our guys will tell me, "Oh, he's not Trent though." I was like, "Yeah, but obviously, like, he doesn't need to be Trent. Trent is one of one with like that delivery from a fullback position.
Yeah, he's got every pass in the locker.
Exactly. He doesn't need to be Trent. But what Ben White does need to be is when that guy's busting a gut to get the double team on Saka and Ben White's the free man, he just needs to be able to put a decent ball, half decent ball in, or find a pass, or keep the play ticking, or do whatever, because he's gonna have the time and space, because Saka's gonna get double teamed every time. I think Ben White's doing that. I think he's been doing that.
I think I think we even like, I know we're giving him a lot of praise, but we're almost underselling it because he's going beyond just doing it. Like, him, Saka, and Odegaard in that triangle, we have so many goals that come out of that triangle.
Facts.
And it can't just be because Ben White's he's just doing their job. Like, he must be excelling. Like, you know, some of the balls he'll take off Saka, some of the balls he'll take off Odegaard, some of the balls he'll give to Saka and Odegaard.
Some of the passes are fizzed into.
That's what I'm saying. You know, and as you say, anyway, the game intelligence to know, all right, Odegaard has it there. Saka's making this move. I need to complete the triangle and be there. It's super top, man. And yeah, obviously he's not Trent. Like, he was traditionally a centre back.
Trent,
you know. So
did you see that clip I sent you of him playing in midfield at Leeds?
Yeah. Saying he's always been like this.
It's coming, man. Arteta's making that adaptation.
One thing I'll say on this game though, I got a lot of time and a lot of respect for Thomas Frank, but
my dad said I used to like him, but I hate him now.
I don't hate him because I understand it. Like, if you're coming to Arsenal,
you have to do that
without your favorite back, without your preferred back four, and guys are missing, and you know, Bremo, all this kind of stuff. But that was the worst.
I expected a bit more from Brentford.
That was the worst style of football that I've ever seen Brentford play in a big game. Like, they weren't here to play football. They didn't want to see the ball flow for a minute. They didn't want any like continuous football for a minute. There was no momentum in the match. Players were going down all over the place. Throw-ins were taking that Jensen throw-in thing where Jensen takes 10 minutes to take a throw-in and then doesn't beat the first man. So that's why the Havertz goal was even more thrilling, because they were huge arseholes.
And none of their players went down after Havertz.
Exactly. But I hear it. Look, Thomas Frank, he's down there. He's not necessarily in a relegation scrap, but he's not far off it.
They're close to it. They're very close
so he needs as many points as he can get. He's just faced Liverpool the other week, and or Chelsea, whatever. You know, Man City. He's had tough games. So I hear it. You're just trying to get a team through a tough period. But damn, that brand of football of the Emirates is something I hope you don't see too often.
Fully.
It was.
I mean, I said after the game, I hope they get relegated.
Yeah,
because they annoyed me that much. But and we'll link this in with the Brentford stuff. Aaron Ramsdale came back into the side, and I swear to you, I'm not making this up. Genuinely, at 1-0, I was sat there in my seat, and hand on heart, I'm telling God's honest truth, I was like, we need to score another goal because Ramsdale hasn't made his mistake yet.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the ball goes back to him. I can see it coming.
What are all the cliches for keepers? Calamity, clanger, howler. It's all of them in one. It's
awful. It's just terrible. It's terrible. And the thing with Ramsdale that we've said before is Ramsdale can make errors that other keepers make, but when Ramsdale makes them, they look bad,
dreadful.
They look
for timing reasons or his just sort of characteristic reasons. And I think I've got two things to say about Ramsdale. First thing I'll say is, if you paused this podcast right now and went back to the podcast we did before we played Brentford for the first game, everything that Amar and I said would still apply about our trepidation of Ramsdale coming in. I think we were talking about how, because Ramsdale hasn't played football for a while, he's going to come in and want to like make camera saves and get involved with the crowd and all of that kind of stuff. All of that trepidation still very much carried over into this game.
We were vindicated.
100%. I think I do put some blame on Mikel, not for the Ramsdale's mistake, but for Ramsdale's mentality. Or, it's not going to be easy for Ramsdale. Like, I hear that. But that's your job as a professional football player.
Number two's come in, Kelleher.
Yeah.
On the weekend. He's getting pressed. Exactly. Both two number twos on the pitch both had to come in, but they both did their job.
I think the syndrome that Ramsdale suffers from is thinking he's a number one in this team.
Yeah.
And like at least Ortega, Kelleher, they comfortably know their number twos, and they're coming in with games thinking, all right, let me just keep this simple. Let me just do. If people don't speak about me, I've done my job.
Yeah,
kind of mentality. Yeah. Whereas I think Ramsdale's coming in trying to impress.
Yeah.
And like I know he should go long for that ball even, but either do it quicker or play the safe ball to Saliba. And you know what really pissed me off about this goal was the people involved, like Whistle. I don't even hate Whistle.
Yeah.
But for Ramsdale not to know that Whistle,
and Whistle was the one that did it to
that's
him
what I'm
in
saying.
the away game.
There's certain players in the Premier League. This isn't Chris Wood. This isn't Awani. This isn't even Muniz from Fulham. It's not some like 6'2", 6'3" striker that's laboring about wanting the ball to feet type of thing. This is the IU type. This is Whistle.
Yep.
Like, you should know. Don't faff about with it a couple of minutes before half time.
Yep.
And so for him to make that kind of error, knowing who Whistle is, knowing Whistle's on the pitch, knowing that Whistle's somewhere behind him, and when he actually strikes the ball, he doesn't know where Whistle is. He just knows he's coming.
Yep.
Like, I just think it's so rookie. Like, I just think it's so amateur hour. And like, it just seals his fate, I feel like, in an Arsenal shirt, man.
And if Arsenal had lost that game, that would have been
exactly
100% on Aaron Ramsdale. And I'm not that guy that says, oh, if a player makes a mistake, he's to blame, because I will usually tell you that there are so many other things that happen in the game. But if Arsenal had lost that game,
he put all the pressure on us.
100%. Because the way the second half folds out, like we've already spoke, Brentford players going down, feigning injury, trying to waste time. Aaron Ramsdale has allowed that to become the game plan. Because if Arsenal 1-0 up, they probably go on in the second half to score 2, 3, maybe 4.
Brentford have to come out.
Exactly. The game's different. That, because of that mistake just before halftime, Brentford were allowed to do that. But what I will say is that, and I kind of knew that mistake. And the reason I had that thought about Ramsdale was because the game started and the Emirates crowd was chanting, Aaron Ramsdale. And I joined in, right? Because look,
you like him.
It's never a personal thing. I like Aaron Ramsdale. When he kissed the Arsenal badge away at Tottenham, we've spoken about the Ramsdale highs.
Yeah.
It's not a personal thing.
When you're
as much as Nick thinks it is, right? It's not a personal thing. I like Aaron Ramsdale, and that's why. Because at halftime, I was thinking, if I'm Thomas Frank, I'm telling all of these guys, shoot on side.
Yeah.
Because this guy, he might be in his head now.
His head is gone. If that half had gone on for another 4 minutes, if Brentford had a corner in that spell, oh man, they would have put it on his head.
Yep.
He would have flapped at it.
But where Ramsdale does deserve his credit is I thought he would come out in that second half and it could
look bad.
Long. But he made a good save from Tony's shot, which was unbelievable, by the way.
It would have been goal of the season.
Speak on Ivan Toney a bit. But yeah, he made that save. He made the save from Nathan Collins, and he recovered well. And I'm happy for Ramsdale that his last game in an Arsenal shirt was that game, and he won the game. And he's not leaving Arsenal, having played his last game and cost us. 3 points.
I will say that I am happy for Ramsdale. I do agree that he made a couple of good saves to keep us in the game. But I also think that's his story.
Yeah.
Ramsdale's story is making a mistake and then atoning for it. Fans being like, oh, well, he did kind of make up for it because he made that, like, just don't.
No, I'm not excusing the mistake. I'm just glad it didn't get worse.
Just don't, I'm not excusing, just don't make the mistake in the first place. Let those saves be at 1-0 to Arsenal and us saying, oh, Aaron Ramsdale's done well to keep us. Like, I just think that if we were to continue with Ramsdale, it would be exactly not. He's young. He's gonna get better in X, Y, and Z. But I think it's gonna be how it is now, where it's like Ramsdale's gonna make a mistake, then make a wonder save, and we're all gonna be like, oh, but look. And because as Arsenal fans, we like him, we like his personality, we like what he brought to the club at the time, we're always gonna wanna praise him. But I was thinking, if David Raya made that mistake, like, people were getting onto David Raya for the Porto goal.
Can you imagine what Nick would have said?
People are getting onto David Raya for the Porto goal. People are getting David Raya onto. I remember when we played Tottenham at home, and there was like whatever happened. Like, people are ready to kill David Raya for any mistake that he does. And if David Raya makes mistakes, kill him. Like, it's football.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's funny because Ramsdale is one of those players that Arsenal fans will like and want to like. But I don't think he has the quality or the mentality or a combination of both for a Mikel Arteta team. Because I don't think Mikel Arteta is looking for people that can make those kind of mistakes, unforced errors. Make a forced error, but unforced errors.
Even whenever the ball went back to him, I was just nervous. Even if he had time, I was like, what is Ramsdale going to do?
Yeah. Look, I got a lot of, I still got a lot of love for Ramsdale. I just got a lot of nerves when you play football for Arsenal Football Club as well.
And ultimately, a lot of people, a lot of guys, not us, not on this podcast because we know ball here, but a lot of guys wanted to get onto Mikel Arteta for signing David Raya.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's just vindicated Mikel Arteta's decision
Even more.
of we need to spend 27 million on a new goalkeeper because that's going to be the difference.
Yeah. The marginal gains at this level, man.
Yeah,
As you say, I mean, just to repeat your point, but if we had drawn or lost that game and we didn't get those 2 additional points, we're not top of the table. And these are the marginal gains in title races that make all the difference. And as much as we love Ramsdale, as much as I personally love Ramsdale, I'm not giving up those marginal gains for a guy that sticks his tongue out to the crowd and makes the occasional good camera save. Like cut out the mistakes.
Exactly. But on the Brentford side, we spoke a bit about Thomas Frank and his tactics. Ivan Toney tried his very best to drop the "come and sign me" performance
type of thing. That shot is inspired by
ridiculous.
"Come and sign me."
Ridiculous. Erling Haaland.
That's on his weaker foot.
Do that on his left foot.
Yeah.
Bro, 100%. That is, and yeah, Ivan Toney in any other game he doesn't take that.
Yeah,
but he came to the Emirates and he was desperate.
Desperate
to get a result. You see the way he's moaning to the ref when Arsenal start time wasting after the goal. Ivan Toney was desperate to get. He was pressing, and Ivan Toney's been shit in the last couple of games.
He has. He wanted to score. He had a celebration drawn up. He had something under his shirt.
And after the game, I said to both my brother and my dad, "Yo, Saliba and Gabriel just can't deal with Toney." Right, and they both kind of said, no, they both did really well.
I thought, yeah.
And maybe I'm spoiled because I'm expecting Saliba and Gabriel to dominate everyone, right? And win every aerial duel, especially Gabriel. So when the ball's coming in the air and Tony's pinning him, backing him down, and getting flick-ons, I'm thinking, this isn't like Gabriel. This isn't what Gabriel does. So maybe I'm a bit spoiled there. But Toney is the first striker I've seen this season come to the Emirates and give those 2 real problems.
I think he gave him problems in terms of flick-ons.
Yeah.
He did win some of those.
But even if Toney doesn't win the header, he stops them winning the header.
I think so I think it was 50-50 in that respect because there, as you mentioned, there's some times where Gabriel just went over the top of Toney, got there. There's some times where they tried to give Toney the ball to feet. Gabriel nips in, clears him out as well. But I agree that there was times where Toney had a back heel to Mope. You know, he had a header that Wissa could have got onto. I think Toney, to be fair, I actually don't think he played badly at all.
Oh, yeah, I think he did all right.
I think he had a good game. I've seen a lot of people do be a lot less involved in an Arsenal game with Gabriel and Saliba back there, and it's not as if Brentford were playing free-flowing football. His chances came out of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, they were 70, 80 yard pings from goalkeepers, or that, the shot that he had. But I also think that, I don't know, I'm starting to see more credence. I would still take Toney if Arsenal to put in an offer for him.
I'm less on the Toney.
But I'm less on the Toney train as well. But I would still take him. I think he's going to get a move to somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think the problem Toney has as well is he's a better centre forward than Havertz, for sure. But I think if Havertz...
in some games.
No, well, I'm just talking about in terms of the function of being a centre forward. Like, the back to play stuff, the scoring, the inside the finishing, the headers, all that kind of stuff that you would expect from a traditional number 9. But I was gonna say the thing is, with Havertz scoring such sort of 6-yard box goals, is Toney worth
the need for Toney?
Is he worth the additional 80 million if he's just gonna be finisher in the box and that kind of stuff?
And also the thing, I think we all know that Arsenal are gonna sign a striker this summer. And I think ultimately what Mikel Arteta and Edu will do, because they proved that they're smart with their recruitment, they're clever with their recruitment. Ultimately, I think they're going to know that we need a striker that's going to come in and score 30 goals, right? Obviously, everyone needs that.
Yeah.
Right? But they're also going to look at it, and I'm sure both of them are going to be saying, if this striker comes to Arsenal and doesn't score goals, which is a real possibility because someone could come from a different league and whatever. If this striker comes to Arsenal and doesn't score goals, what else is he going to be doing for us? And that's where the Victor Osimhen thing, I'm more okay with it, because I know, not that I've seen too much of Victor Osimhen, but I know from people that have seen him that he works extremely hard. He presses. he'll link the play, he'll do everything. And Mikel Arteta is going to know, look, if my striker's not scoring goals, he needs to be doing all of that other stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And I'm not sure Ivan Toney gives that as much as someone like Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, I honestly don't know who it's going to be, but I agree that they're going to be a multifaceted person because we've already spoke about Declan Rice and Havertz, and we thought Rice was going to be a 6. He's now a 6 and an 8. We thought Havertz was like, we need to stop asking what position Havertz plays.
Yeah.
You know, so Mikel Arteta definitely leans towards multifaceted players because you don't know who's going to be injured and out for forever.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a guy that can play more than one position, you're going into the market asking for 50, 60 million just to cover one hole.
Yeah.
And
if you buy Ivan Toney because Ivan Toney scores goals and he comes to Arsenal and he doesn't score goals, what else is he offering you?
Yeah. But yeah, look, everybody knows that this is going to be an all-time or like one of the juiciest races ever. So stick here. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be here to talk you guys through it, to give you our opinions. And I just think that next Premier League week, everything I've said here could change.
Yeah. But we will move it on. We've done a lot on Arsenal there, and another big game on Sunday, which was Aston Villa versus Tottenham.
Yeah.
And Unai Emery is a criminal. Ollie Watkins, absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
Shocking performance from Aston Villa. And I put on the chat at the start, I was like, Emery's gone 5 at the back. And I didn't say anything about it because Emery's known as this like tactical genius, this masterclass. Trophy cabinet speaks for himself. But Arsenal fans know that this is classic Emery.
Yeah.
Biggest game of the season. Throw everything you've done up until now out the window.
Yeah.
You're the home team.
Yeah.
You've gone 5 at the back. And look, at half time, look, you can try and do that. As a manager, you try and find different. So I'm not hating on him for that. But at half time, Villa were awful in that first half. You had to change it. You could not come back out and play the same way. And lo and behold, Spurs were full value for their win. They fully deserved it.
I think Spurs were full value for their win. I think, we have definitely seen Emery overcomplicate and overthink things. And but in many ways, I'm not going to lie, I actually don't blame Ollie Watkins because I was
horrible performance.
It was a bad performance, but he should not have played 90 minutes midweek.
I didn't even know that.
He should not have played 90 minutes midweek. And a lot of that team was playing 90 minutes. And I get it, maybe injuries, maybe whatever. But it was too much for Ollie to do 90 the week before, 90 on Thursday, come on Sunday versus Tottenham. I just felt, and then to do a whole new system. When did they learn that?
Yeah.
When was that worked on? How was that?
It must have been after Thursday.
And this is my whole thing of you've only given guys X amount of days to get it together. Leon Bailey's playing as some sort of second striker kind of thing, and on paper I can see why it made sense. You've pushed your GAs to the top of the pitch. You put them close together. You're trying to catch Tottenham
only 2v2,
high line, all that kind of stuff. But when you went in 0-0 at half time, having played that poorly at home, change it. I agree. Get the fans involved. Get what happened to Jacob Ramsey? And not that Jacob Ramsey is here to change the game, but I thought he was giving you good legs off the bench. He was
something different at least.
He was adding a lot in terms of running power and providing those balls that are the second assist type of thing. And then, as much as I want to give Emery his sort of his slate, I think John McGinn, if you was big enough,
Villa captain,
he was big enough saying this is the biggest game of the season for you guys, and this is everything, and this is so important. You have a chance to leave Tottenham in your dust, almost secure that top 4 position. You're the club captain. Straight red card for a petulant challenge.
He doesn't even try and disguise it.
I think that is
he just goes straight through, doggy.
That's what I'm saying. That is just so banter era of a football team. It's so
I sat here last week and I said John McGinn,
super John McGinn
over that midfield.
Yeah, I know,
but not like that.
Yeah.
That was just so. I watched it and I was like, I'm completely okay with the fact
the red. Yeah, I know.
at least try and hide.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you want to trip him up, but you can't just completely go through the player.
And the game isn't even done then. Like it's
2-0.
the game isn't even done.
1 goal
with half an hour
Tottenham
to go.
probably lose that game.
Yeah, like I just think that those two factors were. I mean, also as well playing 2 left-footed centre backs. I don't know if that was. I don't know what we're doing there to begin with, but big up to Tottenham because that was a big game for Tottenham and
they deserve their props.
Yeah, Anjan is. But I will say though,
Pape Sarr, what a ball!
I will say that I think is Tottenham's starting 11 or best team.
Yeah,
and I know Richarlison's out, but I think that should be.
Bentancur looks a bit spooky post ACL.
Bentancur has never been that guy.
Bentancur was that guy.
Bentancur has never been that guy.
He was one of the best midfielders in the league.
Well, he had his Francis Coquelin stint, and then he had
to. I'm happy to describe it as that. You won't hear me argue against that.
But I just
that is their best midfield. That is their best.
I think that's honestly their best starting lineup. I think the only shaky person is Brendan Johnson. Not Brendan Johnson, is Kulusevski. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Kulusevski.
Yeah.
I think he does a lot of nice stuff, but never has any end product. Never looks threatening enough. And maybe you can bring in Richarlison for him. But other than that,
that's their best team.
That's their best team, and that Tottenham team. Well, Van der Ven's just gone, but that Tottenham team.
Do you see that thing from Geordie? Van der Ven's too fast for his hamstring.
I think that Tottenham team now
should get top 4.
Not should get top 4, but can really put pressure on Villa, really challenge. Like Villa have to play everybody again.
Yeah.
Like City, Liverpool, Arsenal. So do Tottenham.
Yep.
Those games will determine those games are going to put a lot of stock into where these teams will finish.
Yeah.
Because if Tottenham lose all 3, if Villa lose all 3 of those games, those are 9 points that you've just left behind somewhere. On the table. And if Tottenham gets a draw, 2 losses and a draw, whoever gets something from those games will be in a way. There are only 2 points between them. Will be in a way better position. So those aren't going to be easy games for the top 3 teams.
And that's why it was massive, because it could have been 8 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Villa, you had a chance. I don't know why Emery wouldn't continue with what has got you to where you are. Like you had at one point the best home record.
Emery is.
Yeah, we had like at one point the best home record in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Like, he was slapping up everybody.
But they've scored in every home game this season until the weekend.
The worst thing about that performance, I think, from a Villa perspective, was like by the 30th minute, fans weren't even involved. Like it was a huge game.
Before the game, they were really up for it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's where Tottenham deserves some credit. They dominated possession. They played their way, and one Tottenham player, and it is only one because the rest of them are all right. But Destiny Udogie.
Yeah.
When he's not playing Bukayo Saka, he's a very good player. He's locked up almost every other player I've seen.
A lot of people in the league. No, he's serious.
And he's defensively solid. He can win his 1v1s. He's good ball control, good in tight spaces. He can get forward. He's got the PMP. That left back, Destiny Udogie, has all the facilities to be a very successful fullback in this league. Yeah,
no, I completely agree with you. I think Tottenham have 2 good fullbacks, man. And they have 2 centre backs that do complement each other.
Poro's still a dickhead defensively.
Yeah.
But he's
he makes up for it. He makes up for it, I think, offensively.
But Udogie has real quality.
Potential. Yeah. I think, as I said, I think my Tottenham guy that I like, Pape, so I think he's been like, he's got a lot of potential and he can grow. And he has a lot to add to his game as well. But shout out to Son. I think Son
doing his thing.
He's been doing his thing. Yeah, Son has been doing his thing. Playing on the left, playing up front. Like, he's better up front, but he gets goals and assists whenever you play him. And if Tottenham are going to do anything, it's going to be on Son's shoulders.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially in those big games.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we'll move it on to what was the lunchtime kickoff, Man United versus Everton. We jumped on Pro Clubs. You made your return.
Yeah. The reptile is back.
Yeah.
For those that know.
And we spoke about this game. And Nick was like, don't bother watching that game.
I didn't, actually.
And yeah, he was right. I mean, I watched it, but Nick was right. And you know what? Everton had loads of chances, man.
I saw
typical Man United. Everton looked like the better team.
Yeah.
They looked like and 2 penalties.
Was it
Godfrey?
Ben Godfrey's not a footballer.
I don't know what to say about Ben Godfrey.
Ben Godfrey's not a footballer.
He's making a sliding tackle as Garnacho's coming across the box. So, and Tarkowski, I mean, both penalties were awful. awful to concede. And then obviously United win 2-0 from 2 pens, but
Two different penalty takers.
Yeah. Rashford. See Dallo
No.
doing the.
Oh, is it? Yes, yeah.
Because Rashford didn't do it, and Dallo, and it was
Hype,
just
man.
Yeah. It was a bit weird, man. We thought Souček was a bit sus last week. But,
you saw the Souček thing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, man. Alejandro Garnacho. I said in the mid-season awards for under 21 player of the season, I said it's not him, but he's in there with a shout. He's been, in terms of Man United's attacking players, the most consistent.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the kid's 20.
No doubt. He has been by far the most consistent player. I think he's shown a lot of potential, man. I've actually found it was easier in the beginning of the season to evaluate United because there was like clear problems and clear areas to improve, and that has remained consistent. But the results, like I don't know what to say.
I mean, I said on the weekend, Man United are going to come for Tottenham, and there's going to be a point guaranteed there'll be a point at some time this season where Man United are 3 points behind Tottenham.
Yeah, you think?
At the moment it's 6, and Tottenham have a game in hand, but that game in hand is at Stamford Bridge. That's L.
3 points.
L instantly. There's going to come a time where they're 3, and then we'll really, really see what this Tottenham team's about.
I just think that for United to even be in a position again where they could still be fighting, they could probably maybe get 5th and sneak into a Champions League position for next year.
Tottenham and Villa allow Man United to get Champions League football.
That is one of the biggest farces football would see for a long time, because as we've said in this game, the reason I find it so tough to evaluate United is because they're not a good team. Structurally, from top to bottom, they're just not a good team. Everybody's inconsistent. We're saying Garnacho, the 19-year-old winger, is the most consistent front three. Garnacho might have 3 goals, 4 goals, 2 assists, like all season, and somehow Tottenham and Villa aren't consistent enough to put a 6, 7, 8 point gap between them and United. Like I just don't get it. Like I honestly don't. And I'm coming sort of full circle on Ten Hag. Maybe he's better than we give him credit for.
He's not.
Because I don't understand how they could be here. He's not. How many losses? How many problems?
Ten Hag's whack. Ten Hag's been whack. But I hope he stays.
Like I just don't get it, because they should be where Chelsea are. They should easily be where Chelsea are.
Not with the players they have.
But
that's what's bailing Ten Hag out.
Is it though? Who?
Varane. He's been playing well recently. He's been clearing his box and doing box defending. We know.
Has Varane been better than Disasi? And not that Disasi's been great, but Varane hasn't been great either. They've both made mistakes. They've both put in
I think Varane, when he's played,
performances.
has been better than Disasi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one.
I think Dallo's been good.
Dallo's been good.
I think Dallo's been.
But so was Gusto.
Right back. Yeah, Gusto's been good. Yeah.
I just feel like they're comparable, and then somehow United. Well, okay, Chelsea don't have an ability to win 3 or 4 Premier League games in a row.
I think. Look,
but I don't know how United can do it with the team that they have and the structure that they have as well.
The best example I can give you is that Wolves game. You know
when they lost 4-2,
when they won 4-3.
United, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Chelsea.
Neto scored that goal.
Yeah.
But as in, this is the best example I can give you about the difference between Man United and Chelsea.
United have a way to just...
The first goal, Marcus Rashford. You remember that goal?
Yeah.
That was it. Who's in that Chelsea team? Maybe Cole Palmer. Maybe Sterling, 1 every 7 games or something.
It's true. Right?
But Rashford's done that a couple of times. We saw it in the Manchester derby. Right?
Yeah.
I think the second goal's maybe... It's Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund's been scoring goals.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's been no Rasmus Højlund, and that's where United have kind of dropped off. But for everything that Nicholas Jackson offers you, Rasmus Højlund's been putting up some numbers recently. Right?
Yeah.
He's been causing a threat. The last goal, Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
And Kobbie Mainoo may never score a goal like that again, but he did it in that game to win Man United 3 points.
3 points.
So, and that's where I think Ten Hag is still whack, but he's got players on that pitch. And I know Bruno Fernandes isn't having a good season. He scored his first goal since that goal against Fulham. But that goal against Fulham won them the game.
No, yeah. Like, I think it's a fair point in terms of United's squad has a little bit more quality than Chelsea's. But I think it's, like, so marginal. and I wonder what the points difference is between them in the table, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I like at some points, I can't shit on Ten Hag anymore, and I need to give him credit for getting Maguire and an inconsistent Rashford and an Evans and Lindelof is in, Lindelof is out, and Shaw is in, Shaw is out. Like, getting that bunch. Amrabat has been terrible and fit all season. Casemiro's performance levels
it's almost. Like, I see your point, because it's almost quite good that there's no style of play.
Yeah,
anyone who can watch Man United and see there's no style of play, but they are where they are in the table.
we're saying that. Yes, that's my point. It's like things from day one, things have not got better.
Yeah,
but somehow it's not like they found their form, they found their feet somewhere in this. It's just they're somehow still in a situation where they can win games, put points on the board, and put pressure on those above them in the table. And I just think that is both incredible and also incredibly sad, because this is still Manchester United. This is still a club that they thought they were going to be challenging for, title races and top.
But what I'll also say to that is that, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, is that where I have some respect for Man United is they have that floor.
Yeah, you did.
So even when Ollie was getting slapped 4-1 at Watford, 5-0 at home to Liverpool, and he got sacked, and Rangnick came in, and then Rangnick was dropping points left, right, and centre. They finished 6th.
Yeah.
They don't so that's again where I can't give Ten Hag credit, because Man United just seem to have that floor of, like, there comes a point where the players in that dressing room, for whatever you want to say about them, do kind of think, this is getting a bit much now.
We need to win 3 in the bounce.
Yeah, this is getting a bit too ridiculous now. Let's train properly for 2 weeks and get back in the race, and then we can fuck around.
Whoever it is, man. Whoever it is.
Whereas Chelsea don't have that.
The mystique. Maybe I need to give credit to the mystique of Manchester United as a football club, but
and also Old Trafford as well. Teams find it, regardless of the state, but we know this as Arsenal. Regardless of the state of Man United, going to Old Trafford and winning it's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. But I do give the mystique of the club some credit, because I think you've been abysmal all season. And somehow we're coming into March and you're not entirely out of everything.
Yeah.
Like
FA Cup quarterfinal.
Yeah, like you're not entirely out of everything for... I honestly struggle. If we're saying Garnacho is your best player, I think it says a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's good, but, he's nowhere near sort of what you would say is the best player of Man United quality.
Yeah.
For the season. So
again, I think Garnacho has been better than all of Chelsea's wingers.
Yeah.
If you don't include Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
I think he's been better than all of their wingers.
Yeah.
But, I think that's enough for Man United. If they put a run together and they start putting some pressure on Tottenham, then things could get a bit interesting. But we'll move it on. West Ham versus Burnley.
Yeah.
And a bad result for West Ham, because when they were potentially finding a bit of form, there were no celebrations from Suchek. But even after they went 2-0 down, they managed to get back into it.
Yeah, Burnley have to see out that game.
Yeah, they do. And we'll talk on Burnley. But Danny Ings-Argy. Danny Ings has... When you watch Danny Ings play, that guy has technique.
He definitely has... He knows how to strike the hell out of a ball,
see
man.
The one he hit the crossbar?
Yeah.
That is... Only Danny Ings can do that in that West Ham team. I don't even think Paqueta can strike a ball like that.
And you know what's funny is...
And he scored an offside goal before the goal he scored.
I think the goal he scores, though...
Proper striker's goal.
But I just ask Burnley, like, where is the pressure?
Oh, Burnley. I mean, I wanted to give Ings a bit of praise, but do you want to just go straight to Burnley?
I just can't look past Antonio chesting it down with, like...
Mikel Antonio, for those Burnley defenders, will be a harder task than Haaland, than Jesus, than Isak. And Mikel Antonio is just going to...
They've not even made him work for that chest
But I messaged in the chat when Burnley were 2-0 up. Did you think Burnley were going to win that game?
I didn't think Burnley were going to win that game, but I mean...
It was inevitable. I knew the maximum Burnley... And they should have lost. The amount of chances that West Ham had in that second half. Kudus had a gilt-edged chance, blazed it over the crossbar.
Yeah.
Danny Ings scored the offside goal. Right at the end, Mikel Antonio can't finish from 4 yards on his left foot. They should have lost that game.
I'm not going to lie. 2 weeks ago, I was saying that West Ham fans were ungrateful for Moyes. But I'm starting to... Like, West Ham, the problem West Ham have is just as they have an opportunity, and they're still 7th, by the way.
Yeah.
Just as they have an opportunity to turn the corner, put the bad results behind them. They have 2 bad results back
beat Everton away.
They lost now midweek.
Yeah, and now you got Burnley. Burnley
at home.
And you got 2-0 down.
After you finally you've broken the duck, you've got to win the week before. You've got to start telling yourself, all right, boys, let's pick it up from here.
Yeah.
Europe.
Go on a run now.
Yeah. Burnley at home. Everybody should be licking their lips.
Yeah. And Bowen fucked me.
I brought him in. I took a hit.
Yeah, same.
I want to give a shout out to David Datcher for final though. Screamer. I love those ones where it's like he hasn't even he hasn't
gone across the keeper. He's gone straight line, that corner there.
Yo, after he tries to like pass it off first time, the ricochet comes back to him and he's like, all right, bet.
Yeah, just try it.
He doesn't even have a second thought. But yeah,
Vincent Kompany.
I just
do we speak on him? What do we say?
I don't know what we say. I also want to say that the most ironic thing for Burnley is maybe in hindsight you go into the game saying I'll take a point. Like West Ham are picking it up. In hindsight, you say, before the game you say I'll take a point going into the match. But the fact that they got a point, but Sheffield also got a point. So it means it's not like
Luton got a point.
Yeah, it's not like at least there's a point between us and bottom place and you guys have exactly the same record and you're both.
And like you say, just the way that team concedes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just not Premier League.
It's just not Premier League level. I think you should be able to see out 20 minutes of a football. It's a Premier League. There's a lot of quality on both sides, but I just feel like I am yet to see Burnley see out a game for 20 minutes. Like it's like once every 4 months that we'll ever get a Burnley sort of they managed to get this one over the line. So until that can happen, you look, everybody knows where Burnley are going. I just hope that along the way they can actually pick up some results to make it some confidence for the time when you come back, maybe even just for Vincent Kompany to have something under his belt where it's like, it was a poor season, but at least we didn't lose.
I showed my next club I can do this.
Yeah, we didn't lose our remaining 4 games. We got 2 draws and 2 wins, whatever it is. But something that at one point lets you know in the Barclays Premier League you're 4-3. You're 3-2. You're 2-1.
That you've gone on a bit of a run.
Just something to take away from the season other than a battering here, a battering there. We're up, we're down. We should have won. We drew. Type of momentum. It's just poor.
But ultimately a bad result for West Ham. But a team that's flying at the minute, rising up the table, a chance of Europe. Many thought they would go down. Wolves beating Fulham 2-1,
and that's that.
And
it can't
Gary
be understated.
O'Neill is that guy?
It can't be understated. It can't be. I think it's a big win for Wolves because them and Fulham, there's honestly not much between them.
Exactly.
It's a real sort of fair fight.
When you're in that push for Europe, similar to how we just spoke about West Ham, it's easy to get yourself up for a Liverpool at home, an Arsenal at home, whoever it might be. But when you're playing Burnley at home, like we've just spoken about with West Ham, when you're playing Fulham at home, if you want to be a serious team, if you want to try and get to Europe, those are the games you have to win.
100.
And he did that. They went and won 2-1.
I think the good thing about Gary O'Neill as well is he's shown, this is like, well, not to harp on the Vincent Kompany thing, but he's shown his ability to manage through tough times. Players coming out, players, injury or bad form. I think they lost Neto again. So he's shown this season.
Hwang's been out.
Yeah. He's shown this season that it's not necessarily I'm relying on X, Y, and Z factor players to get the job done. I'm creating systems and I'm creating styles of football that are letting my 25-man squad flourish and not just my starting 11 squad flourish. And I think that is sort of the makings of a really good manager, or that is what all managers are trying to show these days, is that I can get the best out of. If you want to get a job in the Premier League, which Gary O'Neill, it's not like he's going to lose his Wolves job, but if you want to get a job in the Premier League, it's like, I think you want to be able to show that you can get 24 people to play a certain style of football, because those injuries are sort of guaranteed to come.
And when you look at Cunha, Hwang, Neto, those are all the star players, so to speak.
Yeah,
right? Like the
exactly.
guys who are irreplaceable at a club like Wolves. But
even Jose Sarr was out for some point in the season.
Yeah, on the weekend, 8 Nuri bags, Semedo bags. Like you're getting your goals from everywhere. And you're gonna need that, man. Like you said, you need the squad. And yeah, shout out Gary O'Neill, man. I can't heap enough praise on what he's doing there.
Yeah, and they're 9th now, 41 points. They're literally a point behind Brighton, and 2 points behind West Ham. I would love to see a Wolves West Ham game. I hope they.
Yeah.
I hope they still have each other to play in the remaining
and that's
fixtures.
a good segue because nobody ever would say Gary O'Neill's better than De Zerbi.
Yeah,
but maybe they should.
Yeah.
Because I know Brighton, obviously, this weekend they beat Forest 1-0, a horrible own goal.
Have you seen that cameo? He's a rookie of my week, by the way, because he gave away the free kick.
Yeah.
Which was ridiculous to concede in the first place, and then they conceded his own goal from the same free kick he gave away.
I think Brighton should have had a player sent off in that game.
Yeah, Moda
should have gone.
Yeah, it's a definite red card.
But Forest had chances in that game, man. The amount of time Morgan Gibbs-White put someone through 1v1, mainly Origi in that game.
Yeah.
But I think Gibbs-White is going to get a move.
Yeah, and Nottingham Forest are treading carefully because they've still potentially got points deduction to come in.
Yep.
And it's like they're proper down there, and they are losing games. I think they've lost 4 out of the last 5.
I think what are they? 3 points above the relegation zone.
Yeah,
and their next fixture is away at Luton. That's next week, yeah. and to tie that in with what Luton are doing, Luton obviously fighting till the very end away at Selhurst Park, getting themselves a 1-1 draw. Corley Woodrow right at the end. Mateta scored a nice goal in that game.
Yeah, Jean-Philippe.
Glasner's playing his 3-5-3 or 3-4-2-1 kind of thing. It's looking all right. But yeah, that game next week, Luton versus Forest.
That's going to be a big one. That is going to be a big one.
Because if Luton win that, they're now level on points with Forest.
I like Luton for making it interesting. Whether they stay up or whether they go down, who knows yet. But
they scored 90 plus 6. Right till the very end. And you compare that to Shef U and Burnley and
conceding 90 plus 6.
What Luton are doing, man, nothing but respect for them.
Nothing but respect for them. I just like, as I said, the fact that they're making it interesting. Even Everton, they're only a point above Nottingham Forest. Everton have lost quite a few of their last remaining games with tough fixtures remaining. And I think they have the quality to keep it up. But I think for these teams, I think this is where your strikers make the difference. Like
Carlton Morris versus Awoniyi
versus DCL, because I don't even know if DCL has scored this season yet.
He's gone 21 games without a goal.
Like it's not that they were like guilty as chances versus United, but I know he had a couple of chances that could have gone in.
Yeah,
and I think for Everton, for Nottingham Forest, for Luton, if your striker in the last 10 games can get you 5 goals,
massive. I'd take that from Gabriel Jesus.
I'll take exactly. So. But because that is going to be the difference in these games is, can you turn that 1-1 draw into a 2-1 win?
That's going to be the difference.
Can you bury that chance when it comes to you? Can you stay switched on and put that penalty home in the final 10 games to stay up? And I know I think defense, when you titles at the top, like, can you keep guys out? Yeah. But I think when you're down there,
you need goals.
You need goals. Like, all their keepers have so many question marks. Like, you could say for any one of their keepers, is it Foderingham in disguise for some of the mistakes that they've made?
Even if you go back in the day, Michu, that one season at Swansea, kept them up, fell away, they got relegated. Gabbiadini.
Tevez, you can even remember when Tevez at West Ham?
Yeah. Gabbiadini at Southampton, bagging goals. Next season, fell away.
Wilfred Bonney.
Exactly.
Yeah, Swansea.
But if you have those goal scorers down there, then
let the games end 3-2, 2-1, 4, whatever it is.
Right.
But you need to make sure that when the chance comes, when it falls to somebody at the 6-yard box, they're not fluffing their lines. They're not like they've got the composure to put it home. And obviously, we'll see what happens. But we'll keep an eye on those strikers: DCL, Awoniyi, Morris, maybe Adebayo if he's back. Like, who's gonna be the guy to put their team on the back and say, "Hey, look, we're not going down this year."
Yeah. That's what Fulham last year, Mitrovic.
Yeah.
The pretty much the sole reason
we're not going down this year.
But yeah, and then obviously the last game, Bournemouth versus Shef U, which ended 2-2.
Solanke killing us all.
Yeah, Solanke, the way he missed his pen, kicking it against his other foot. But yeah, Shef U were 2-0 up. Bournemouth obviously fought back, made it 2-2. But I'm going to give Shef U some credit here after getting slapped recently.
Yeah.
It's not the same as Burnley bottling their 2-goal lead, because I know Burnley are going to do that. Right? That's just who Burnley are. The fact that Shef U scored 2 goals
is big ups.
Yo, fair play.
Yeah, big
Fair
ups.
play, man. You deserve your
signs
props.
of life.
Exactly. Because when FPL players transferring in Kirkes, Zabani, they're taking the piss out of you. They're saying Shef U don't have the ability to come and score at Bournemouth.
Do you know in FPL when it's like Sheffield or Burnley on the weekend, it shouldn't be a greener color. In the match fix, it should be as bright green.
The green makes it so tempting. That was 50% of the reason I transferred.
Solanke. That's why I got Solanke. I saw the 2 greens and I was like, oh, that's cash money.
Has to be. But and yeah, shout out Gustavo Harmon.
Yeah,
we've spoken about him before on the pod.
Quality.
He's the only like real quality
player that Sheffield have.
Like he can string a couple passes together. He can knit things up.
Do you know?
And yeah, he obviously got his goal on the weekend.
Somebody I always look to, not bash, that's a strong word, but like, but Rhian Brewster. There was so much hype around you at the time.
Million.
Yeah, there was so much hype around you at the time. And I thought, move to Sheffield, all right, at least he's going to start or should be starting week in, week out. It's not that his career hasn't gone anywhere, but you just haven't shown much. Like, you haven't really impressed that much. And I know Gustavo Hammer's been transferred in this year, I think from Coventry or something. But yeah, I was just really hoping for Rhian. And I said this like when we were finishing a point above Sheffield. Like, I just thought that he was going to turn himself into something.
Yeah.
You know, at least do like a Tammy Abraham type of thing where you go to Swansea, you score 20 goals at Swansea.
Yeah.
You know.
Even Solanke made those moves.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I guess that there isn't much to say on sort of Bournemouth and Sheffield. I think Bournemouth, to be fair, I think fair play to Areola still. I'll always give him credit just because I thought he was really going to lose his job. And now he's looking real comfortable in the Premier League table.
It looks like he'll be fine. Amon's just messaged me. He said, expecting a Tuchel banner tonight. A lot of talk about it online at Stamford Bridge because obviously they're playing Newcastle.
Okay.
And the Pochettino's already being asked, do you feel the love from the Chelsea fans? Do you feel like they love other managers more than you? No, it's not looking good for Pochettino.
With Chelsea, that's such a hollow sort of thing to chase, love from fans. Like you're at Chelsea Football Club.
Like your managers don't love you. The way Chelsea fans love Jose, and Jose's out here in interviews. I love Manchester United. But yeah, like we said, that game hasn't even started yet, so we can't talk on that. MVPs and rookies of the week.
I got to do an apology.
You do. Before you do that, quickly from me, MVP this week stands for Michael Venom Page. The guy from London made his UFC debut.
Nice.
By the way, that UFC
card ridiculous. Dana.
Gilbert Burns is the second fight.
That's what I'm saying. Dana, he had it all in there.
Piotr Jan's first fight.
Yo. You gotta love what he does.
On the card.
Yeah,
unbelievable UFC card. But yeah, MVP stands for Michael Venom Page. UFC debut in there with Kevin Holland, a dangerous guy, especially if you're making your debut. And yeah, man, anytime anyone from England, whether it's Edwards, whether it's Michael Venom Page this time, shout out him.
I'm gonna give Sugar Shin an MVP as well. I thought he performed really well,
and Della Maddalena.
Yeah,
because whenever I see someone get in the ring with Gilbert Burns,
you just know it's a long day.
If you're gonna beat this guy,
you're
gonna have to work hard. Because the way that guy's gonna put his weight on you, the way he's gonna come at you for takedowns. We've referenced his fight with Hamza Chimaev.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Who I consider like
even his Kamaru Usman fight, Gilbert Burns. It's no joke.
And the first 2 rounds, I thought, Gilbert Burns is he's got it. He's doing what Gilbert Burns does, man. And then out of nowhere, Della Maddalena with the
crazy
knee to the face, knocked him out. My jaw dropped.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous knockout. I got give an apology and an MVP to Anthony Joshua. Came at him last week. I thought he was going to bottle it.
He said, "I already know AJ's going to lose."
You know, I And I did actually think that at the time. And then when I saw the walkouts,
what was it, round 2?
Yeah, it was ridiculously early that Ngannou lost the fight. But in hindsight, I was even wrong to come at AJ. I don't believe that beating Francis Ngannou should put AJ to the back of right back to the top of the boxing world. Ngannou's not a boxer.
Yeah.
He's a knockout guy. He's a man with knockout power who is obviously good at mixed martial arts.
But he did all right against Fury.
And decent at boxing. Yeah, he did. But even that, I don't know what Fury that was. Because I think if I was a boxer and I was facing Ngannou and I was a coach, I'd just be saying, yo, he's not a boxer. Do the fundamentals that you've been doing for 15 years.
Yeah.
And you should win the fight. And I think that is what beat Ngannou, was the fact that AJ's coming in, putting everything behind the jab, doing 1-2, 1-2, right hook.
And also Ngannou, for those who don't know, used to fight UFC.
Yeah.
In the UFC, the guys that Ngannou was fighting never had the ability to hurt Ngannou the way Ngannou had the ability to hurt them.
Yeah. It was leveraged in his favor.
It was like Ngannou could take 3 or 4 hits, and if he hits you once, fight over.
Yeah.
Whereas now, when he's fighting AJ, it's a case of he can't run that same strategy, because if AJ does hit him,
he's gonna feel it. So I was even wrong to comment AJ, because I just have a thing about AJ in the big moments sort of shrinking a little bit. And this was a big moment, and he rose to it, and he's definitely done well. And I hope he gets his Fury fight, and and I think Ngannou isn't necessarily a loser, because he left UFC to get money, and he got paid $20 million for that 5-minute fight, and it's like he wasn't going to get that from Dana. He wasn't going to get
that from however many fights.
Yeah, so in many ways he is still a winner, but I got personal opinions about the sport of boxing. I think it's kind of not dusted like it's over, but I just don't understand the logic behind boxing. Even the fact that AJ and Fury are going to potentially fight this end of this year, early next year, whatever it will be. Like, these are 2 English fighters who are waiting until they're in their late to mid 30s.
Yeah.
You've both been English for the last 20 years.
Yeah,
You've both been in the country. You've both been making...
People have wanted that fight for God knows how long.
Like, why are you both waiting until you're kind of out of your primes to then fight each other? And I just don't respect or like the whole everybody's ducking each other. And I think the sport is on the back of YouTubers and and like these
Jake
like
Paul fighting,
and these and the MMA, the big MMA guys who want to transition over. And there are some legitimate.
But they're all just fighting Jake Paul for the bag, innit?
Anyway, that's just my sign on boxing. But I did want to give AJ his love, because he showed out. And he definitely did show out, and he is from the United Kingdom. We give him a lot of respect. He's from London or from Watford or whatever. But I do want to give him respect for that.
Yeah.
I think I had some other MVPs, and they've all skipped. I should really write these down before I come in there.
I'll give Kai Havertz one. Big moment, big goal. My rookie, Solanke.
Yeah, he's got to get a rookie. Bowen as well has got to get a rookie from him.
Or triple captained him, and to miss the pen the way he missed it, you have to get a rookie.
I'll give Endo an MVP, because I think he's really held his own. I'll give Ben Godfrey a rookie.
Yeah, has to.
I'll give the defender from Burnley. No, not Burnley. Sheffield. Is it Sheffield? No, Nottingham Forest. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
The defender from Nottingham Forest. He's definitely a rookie of the week. And I had one other rookie of the week. It's completely skipping my mind.
The Burnley defender, for what Antonio did to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's criminal. But as I said, I come to expect that from Burnley players now at this stage. I had a lot of MVPs and rookies of the week, and like,
you gotta start writing them down, man.
When I leave here, they're just all gonna come back to me.
Yeah. Well, it's right. You can save it for next week.
Yeah,
I think Arman enjoyed the. I know Arman's a Chelsea fan, but he enjoyed the Nonny and Carney dud of rookie last week.
Yeah,
he messaged me and he was like, "That was quite funny." And then even Sterling's picture.
I saw that. I was gonna say that photo kills me.
But if they do the business today, it doesn't matter. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Like I said, we're trying to hit 50 subscribers on the YouTube channel.
He's got a lot of thank yous as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we're trying to hit 50 subscribers. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, rate us 5 stars. Follow up the playlist. And yeah, man, look, next weekend, I think there's only 4 Premier League games. So we're gonna we'll do something else. I did say we would review the top 10 summer signings, so we might do that next week. Might find some different content ideas. And 2 weeks time, Premier League football's back, and Arsenal will go to the Etihad,
and that is big.
And be here,
be there,
for
be
the
square
aftermath of that. So thank you guys for listening, and peace.
One love.